As per the requirement of Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, notice is hereby given that this is a regular meeting of the Borough of Highlands Mayor and Council, and all requirements have been met. Notice has been transmitted to the Asbury Park Press and the Two River Times. Notice has been posted on the public bulletin board. Formal action will be taken. Roll call. Councilman Broswell.
Here.
Councilmember Bouillon.
Here.
Councilmember Diarigo.
Here.
Councilmember Ryan.
Here.
Mayor O'Neill is absent. Okay. Resolution Executive Session, February 7th, 2018. Whereas the Open Public Meeting Act, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances. And whereas the public body is in such an opinion that such circumstances presently exist. And whereas the governing body wishes to discuss contract negotiations, shore drive pump station, attorney-client privilege, open space, flood damage prevention ordinance, and personnel, tax assessor. Minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality above no longer requires that confidentiality, then the minutes will be made public. Now, therefore, be resolved that the mayor and council go into executive session to discuss the above items and the public be excluded from this meeting. Do I have a motion?
Yes, you do.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
As per the requirement of Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, notice is hereby given that this is a regular meeting of the Borough of Highlands Mayor and Council, that all requirements have been met. Notice has been transmitted to the Asbury Park Press and Two River Times. Notice has been posted on the public bulletin board. Formal action will be taken. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilmember Broswell.
Here.
Councilmember Bouillon.
Here.
Councilmember Diarigo.
Here.
Councilmember Ryan.
Here.
Mayor O'Neill is absent. Approval of the minutes. December 20th, do I have any corrections or amendments?
No, but they will need to be tabled because the new council people have to abstain, and then there's just the two of us will be voting on it. So there will need to be 3 voting on it.
The December 20th only.
That's correct. And with that being said, I'd like to offer the January 1st meeting minutes.
Do I have a second? Roll call vote. Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Bouillon?
Yes.
Councilmember Diarigo?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill is absent. The January 1st minutes have been approved. Public comment on resolutions.
Is there any comments on any of the resolutions? All of the resolutions. Is there any comment on any of the resolutions?
Could there be
Please state your name and address for the
Chris
record.
Francie, 36 Fifth Street? There is a shared service with Union.
Plainfield Municipal Utilities
Plainfield.
Authority.
Could that get broken out and explained? That sounds very interesting.
I think your administrator might be able to explain it since she's dealt with it. But essentially, it is for scoping and videoing of the sewer lines that are designated by the borough. And then there's a fee structure built into the shared services, which, dependent upon the repair, is based on the size of the repair. But your administrator was intimately involved with it, so she may be able to elaborate a little further.
And whether it needs to be pulled out of consent or just in your
She can
report,
answer-
that's fine.
No, she's answering your question.
You can answer your question right now.
There doesn't seem to be, I think it's a great idea, A. B, doesn't seem to be any limitation on costs or scope, and I don't know how you're going to handle that.
They have a pipe listing that you go by for the normalizing machine, and if there are cracks in there is some type of material that they use to repair the pipe if they're in there normalizing. And so we had our own truck. We just utilized their men, their equipment. So it's like, it would be like us utilizing, let's say, one of the other towns
this would replace the work we do with Oswald?
It could.
It could,
Yeah.
some, Oswald, American,
At a cost savings.
at a great deal of a cost savings.
Yeah.
And then we also would not need to go out straight because we have a shared service that's.
That was what I was gonna ask. So this is basically one stop, see a problem, fix a problem,
Correct.
which is really great. Very, very nice.
But the borough designates the area, they come in, they scope it, and then they get in touch with the administrator as to the approximate cost because of the size of
So
the...
then you guys.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Kim Sparka, Shore Drive. I want to speak to the ordinance, for the council to, I'm sorry, the resolution. For the council to approve the 2018 objectives and accomplishments of business partnerships. And I want to urge the council to vote no. After reviewing the ordinance, since it came up for readoption, in general, it seems that the business partnership is operating well outside of the restrictions of the ordinance. And specifically for the goals and objectives, the designated district management corporation, I'll call it the DDMC for short. One of the things they're supposed to do is fund the improvement of the exterior appearance of properties in the district. The DDMC does have grant and loan seeking as an objective, however, it's a copy and paste from prior years. Grant and loan seeking has been an objective every year since 2014, and every year this objective is not met. To add insult to injury, the assessments collected by the DDMC are supposed to go towards the maintenance, development, construction, or acquisition costs in the district, which are the parcels cited in the ordinance, which are all businesses. But the funds are all redirected toward expenses that are to be paid outside of the assessments, such as marketing and events. The DDMC has done nothing to fund the rehabilitation of properties in the district. This is not an objective for 2018. The DDMC has not accepted, purchased, rehabilitated, sold, leased, or managed property in the district. This is not an objective for 2018. All these things I'm listing are right in the ordinance. That's where I'm getting this from. The DDMC has not publicized the district and the businesses included in the district's boundaries. Only select businesses are publicized, and it has been stated and emphasized that the DDMC is not responsible for promoting individual businesses. Rectifying this hypocrisy, where they promote some businesses, not others, and then say it's not their job to promote the businesses, is not an objective for 2018. The DDMC is not recruiting new businesses to fill in vacancies and to balance the business mix of the district. I keep hearing we're going to get another restaurant in town. And this, the filling the vacancies and balancing the business mix is not an objective for 2018. Based on that, I'm going to have to urge the council to vote no until the 2018 goals for business partnership become in line with the ordinance that was approved on January 17th.
Anyone else? Yes, sir?
Steve Sala, 205 Bay Avenue. Just really disappointed in the way the council has looked at this whole thing here. It's kicking the can down the road. Nothing exceptional here about moving this town forward. Still vacancies, still nothing going on. Lots of bar events, you know. Maybe I should have opened up a bar here. For the gentleman's club, something like that.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Bill Isle, 165A, at 30 Jackson Summer House, also a member of the HBP. Just different impression in Ms. Corka's comments. I personally witnessed the HBP physically the members, including Carla and her assistant, actively soliciting different prospective candidates for businesses and restaurants in town. I know for a fact that Kimby's is getting a restaurant for freehold. Grimaldi's is under contract. Little John's renovation of 128 Bay is under contract. There are almost no more vacant restaurant spaces left in town. I understand that the old Colby building is now leased out for 5 years. I don't know whether it's HPP or not. It's becoming difficult to find open available space in town here. So for some reason, you really maybe haven't seen it listed as a specific goal. I can attest to the fact that at least 2 or 3 of those businesses were here in large part to the HPC's direct activities. I wish you could all support their agenda. Second, as a basic all these people, there are specific businesses listed, or every single business listed. Every event that's promoted Highlands has had an effect of promoting the business in the district. So I feel that it's meant role in promoting the businesses in the district. of which are bar-related or bar-driven in terms of events, and the other much more social and much more civically minded and much more all family-related. I would urge you to adopt their agenda, and I will also mention that I was at the organization a week and a half or so ago. I got notice of it, and I was hoping to see if you were there to sort of make your concerns aired, but you weren't, so I thought there was an opportunity to be there. I wish you had been there to talk to the HPP instead of, the council.
Okay. Gentlemen, if you want to have this discussion amongst yourselves,
Just a
it's
voice
asked that you're not
of-
It's actually a discussion.
Just a voice of support for the HPP. I think a couple advocates.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Nancy Burton, 22 Atlantic Street, owner of In the Garden Flower Shop. I would just urge the council to approve our calendar of events, goals, and objectives. Most of them have already been published and are in the works. Also, we have a business luncheon coming up, our breakfast on February 12th, where we're going to be talking about improvements that we've made to our social media to include the retail businesses and service businesses, from Quick Check, CVS, all the way to My Shop, the veterinarian, other businesses where we'll be promoting Steve's business. We're trying to be inclusive for everyone, so that's February 12th. And
Time, please.
9 a.m. here at the community center. Oh, sorry, Bars Restaurant, it was changed.
Bars.
We talked about it. And again, I know that we have talked in the past about facade programs. There is different funding. I think we've even accepted some applications. If not, we will be in the near future. If you have any questions, let us know. I personally went around to some businesses because I was upset, thinking that the laundromat, for one example, was unhappy with the bid. They told me that was the complete opposite. I've asked them to write a letter to the mayor and council with their opinions. I'm not sure if they had a chance to
They
do
did.
that yet.
They didn't. It was copied and given to each council member. I don't have a copy. It's in your mailbox.
And I also spoke with numerous other businesses and asked them to do the same. So hopefully you'll see some more support from those commercial business property owners. Thank you.
Go ahead, Steve.
Take a chance.
Go ahead. I'm going to take a chance.
Well, you know,
I don't want you to
I
think
like-
that we
well,
don't
you know
want you to
what?
hear you.
I thought that we were going to send out a survey. I think that I don't know who mentioned it up there.
Yep.
Anonymous.
3 times it was mentioned.
Pardon me?
3 times we were told that.
Anonymous, without going in front of the businesses and find out exactly what's going on. Instead of going in and, hey, write me a glowing review, and then you can find out what's going on. I mean, there's a problem. I mean, I can appreciate some of the fringes coming around and doing some, kind of fluff stuff, but there's still a problem. There's still a problem with the events, that they're focused on the bars and on the outskirts of town and not in the center of town. And that to me is a problem. And
I
don't
am
see
writing a
anybody
survey.
trying- And I don't see
Steve,
anybody trying to work on that.
let me address your question. I am writing a survey. It can't be done in a day. It's got to be bounced off people. You have to be sure that you're not asking loaded and leading questions such as the other survey was asked. You have to be able to think about if you want a 5-point scale or a 6-point scale, and you want to have to somebody make a determination on a positive or negative value.
I understand that, but what upsets me more than anything is that we're going ahead, we're passing the event schedule, we're passing the budget, okay, without...
These are statutory requirements.
Yeah, but with their statutory requirements, that's fine, but let's sit down and talk about it. I obviously have some concerns. I mean, I need to have, where I can say, hey, look, these are my, and I've voiced them. And by sending the survey out, by having a meeting, and laying everything out on the table, listen, I'm not here to attack any person individually, okay? What I'm looking for is to draw business and visibility and traffic into my area of town. And, you know, I made that very, very clear. And yet, we still go ahead and we're doing the same things that we used to do. You know? I mean, that's...
Kim has something that she wants to.
I did go to the last meeting. I would love if you did the next meeting, executive meeting, and let's bring it up.
Well,
And I know you went to other meetings. I wasn't into this. I need to experience this training. And I did go to the meeting. Everything was voted, everything was voted on. It was passed around. So let's get some ideas. Come up with a few. Let's see. Let's see if they're effective. Let's see, if there is pushback. Let's see if we'll be here. But let's just try, right?
well, you know, I don't want to say no. Okay, let me think
Think
about
about
it
it.
because I've been very, very, you know, I
I'll
mean,
stop by your shop. I'll come
stop. You'll be the first one.
Okay.
You know, I mean,
I will come
you know,
by.
here I just up here
I
for
will.
years, and nobody really knows what I do over there.
Are you welcome?
You know, so
Actually, I encourage you to
that's
do it.
that's
I
one of
did
the
it.
things.
Thank you.
Well, Carolyn,
Okay, okay.
am I right or am I wrong?
Yes. Okay. Calm down. And then we're done, okay?
Tim Spurgeon, short time, I understand these are statutory requirements and you have to go through this approval process. But I object to the council just rubber stamping this. I just found out that we've got 3 more restaurants and possibly something at the old Holby building coming in. It's not in the 17, it's not listed as a 2017 accomplishment. How can the business partnership not put these down as actual accomplishments?
Because it's in, they're private contracts.
So let me follow the logic. Part of the
Kim,
goal is to bring business into town,
Yeah.
but you're not allowed to list the accomplishment as 3 buildings got leased.
We don't know if I don't know if they're leased or if they've been sold, and if they were just sold and it has been under contract for 6 months, but it doesn't get sold until January 31st, how can that be in 2017? When it happened in this year, just because something is under contract, you can ask any realtor, it doesn't mean a thing until both parties have signed on the dotted line and that piece of property has been sold.
Let me clarify, little John.
You know what? Please don't, you guys can talk about it some other time, okay? Carol, please state your name and address for the record.
I couldn't resist. Carol Bucko, 330 I think it would be beneficial if the bid put out a regular budget like most businesses do, like our condo association does, PAT does, with the expenses, with the
They do.
money receipts.
They do put out a budget, they're 1099, not 1099, what is that? 501c3 tax forms, it's all online.
Plus, everybody
Bill,
doesn't fill
Carol,
their meetings.
please, direct your questions here.
Well, he said they do it at the 4 meetings. Who's gonna keep track of the 4 meetings? I can barely keep track of this one,
Okay.
you know?
But you have to understand, this is a 501c3. If you have an issue with that organization, that's like you coming to me and saying you don't like how the garden club's being run. You gotta change the leadership there. It's a whole other organization. It has nothing to do with us. Do you understand?
I just think that it would be better if they, instead of just listing accomplishments and what they hope to do, and then there's no follow-up at the end of the year whether they've accomplished those, because we can't remember what they said they were going to accomplish unless we have it reprinted, put back to us, if they did.
And it's on their
an
website.
Absolute
All
budget.
of those forms
I mean,
and
it
budgets
just,
are on the website.
you know, and pass them out. You pass a lot of other junk out, you can pass that out.
All right, I'm gonna close the vote.
Consent agenda. Resolution 18-043, authorized payment of the bills. Resolution 18-044, authorized Monmouth County Mosquito Control to conduct aerial control operations. Resolution 18-045, authorized shared service agreement with PMUA for inspection, cleaning, and repair of sewer lines. Resolution 18-046, authorized shared service agreement with Middletown for animal control services. Resolution 18-047, authorized refund of taxes. Resolution 18-048, appoint fill-in crossing guard. Resolution 18049, authorizing amendment to temporary 2018 budget. Resolution 18050, approve additional bond counsel services and awarding a non-open contract. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call. Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Briand?
Yes.
Councilmember Diarigo?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill is absent. The consent agenda has been properly approved. Resolution 18051, Highlands Business Partnership Goals and Objectives for 2018. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Roll call. Councilmember Broswell?
Abstain?
Councilmember Briand?
Yes.
Councilmember Diarigo?
I'd like to read a statement at this time concerning this resolution and the next one. And I want to clarify a lot of misconceptions that are going on. At the November 8th council meeting, Steve Salop spoke to the council about his frustration in dealing with the HBP. Mr. Salop stated that he had a number of disgruntled business owners and asked the council if they would be willing to speak with those business owners. Mayor O'Neill asked if there was anyone who was willing to do that, and I volunteered. Mayor O'Neill was very specific in his directions to me. He wanted me to speak only to the disgruntled business owners. He specified that at that meeting. I met with Steve the following day to get the names of the business owners who expressed dissatisfaction and frustration in their dealings with the HBP. As I began to speak to these owners, many of them expressed a desire to remain anonymous. Sorry. I decided at that time to prepare a questionnaire. It wasn't meant to be a survey, where they could answer freely without fear of repercussion, because many of them had expressed they would be repercussions. I went to the businesses that Steve had given me that were disgruntled and spoke to them. It was not meant to be a poll of all the business owners in town. At the following council meeting, the president of the HBP, Carla Scala Broswell, brought in business owners to defend her and proclaim what a fantastic job she was doing. One member spoke for 20 minutes, challenging my ability to be fair, claiming I wasn't a business owner. And Ms. Braswell attempted to bring the conversation to a personal level by stating to me, "How would you know? You never attend any of my events." Neither my or any other council member's attendance at any event has any bearing on the fact that there are a number of business owners who are dissatisfied with the way their business tax is being spent. Many feel their tax dollars are being spent to the benefit of a select few. According to the most current tax list, there are 104 businesses, commercial, and residential members who contribute $68,688 in taxes. The HBP then also asks for another $70,000 from the town to operate, bringing the total to $138,688. The HBP is acting as an event planner and plans 14 events, of which 7 of these events are centered around the restaurants and bars. There are 17 bars and restaurants listed of the 104 entities paying the business tax, and at least 2 of those bars and restaurants are currently closed, but are still paying the tax. This leaves approximately 87 tax-paying entities that do not benefit from at least 50% of the planned events. It is my opinion that the HBP's role is business development, not event planning. In addition, no business owner should be approached by the HBP or any of its members and asked to write a letter or speak on their behalf. Besides being extremely unprofessional, behavior such as this is intimidating to the business owner. A complaint that was expressed repeatedly to me, and I have that in writing. Running the HBP is not a high school popularity contest. It needs to be impartial and fair to all 104 entities that are forced to participate in this partnership. Due to the fact that the HBP has demonstrated its inability to listen to any kind of criticism, I am asking the entire council to reevaluate the role of the HBP and its relationship to all 104 tax-paying entities. I am also asking the council to evaluate the role and relationship of the Recreation Department in regards to the events calendar. So that's what I feel from talking to the business owners, from what they wrote. It is extremely unprofessional to ask any business owner to write a letter, particularly a business owner that expressed something different in writing. So please, there's dissatisfaction among the business owners. There are 104 people that are paying this tax. Maybe 6 or 7 of them show up for the HPP meetings. Maybe 10 show up. But there's still another 80 that are contributing, and there is a portion of those 80 that are unhappy. We need to address that as council. This is unfair to those people that are unhappy. Completely ignored. I have been working on this with Mr. Salah since November. We have continually asked. He has been here at every single meeting. I never met the man before that meeting. I did not know him. When Rick asked me to do this, when Mayor O'Neill asked me to do this, he specifically asked me to find out why these people were unhappy. And you people are not accepting the fact that there are members of our community that are contributing a lot of dollars and not happy. And ignoring that is not the solution. Passing a resolution and ignoring the dissatisfaction of some of our business members is not the solution. And requiring or asking those business members to now come to an HPP meeting to be intimidated again is not fair to them. It's not fair. And they've expressed that to me. So, you don't have to believe it, but they're expressing that to me. And that's all I have to say.
Except for your vote.
No.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill is absent. It's 2 affirmative votes, 1 negative vote, and 1 abstention. It's been properly approved. Resolution 18052, Highlands Business Improvement District Budget for 2018.
This needs to be tabled because the mayor wanted to be here, and he's unfortunately ill and cannot attend.
So is there a motion to table it for the next meeting on February 21st?
Correct.
Do you have a second?
Second. Roll call vote, Councilmember Broswell?
Abstain.
Councilmember Rion?
Yes.
Councilmember Diariga? The motion is
To table to the next meeting.
I know.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Resolution 1852 has been tabled to the next meeting.
So it will be listed on February 21st. And the resolution will be amended to reflect a new public hearing date of March 21st.
Resolution 18053, authorized letter to the Monmouth County Park System. Do I have a motion?
I'll make this motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Rion?
Yes.
Councilmember Diariga?
Yes.
And Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill is absent. Resolution 18053 has been properly approved. Resolution 18054, appoint the tax assessor. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
And the motion is to have Jay Precion.
Yes. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Roll call vote, Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Brion?
Yes.
Councilmember Diariga?
Is it proper to ask at this time for Kim to explain to the audience what's going on here? Can she do that before I vote?
I mean, what explanation are you
Well,
asking
I
for?
think there are members of the audience that
This is
are
not the
questioning
agenda.
It's on the
This
updated
is a
agenda in the back.
resolution 18054.
for the tax assessor.
Well, there was an emergent situation with your prior tax assessor who had to hastily resign, so the borough had to act swiftly, and the state also wants the borough to act swiftly, if that's what you're inquiring of. I don't know if there's anything further you want Kim to
Well,
elaborate.
And also that we had appointed what we thought we would do an interim tax assessor, that would give us time to find a real, not real, but a permanent solution to the problem. And we were informed by the county that that is illegal. You cannot have an interim. You need to appoint someone to a 3-year term.
The statute requires a 4-year term beginning July 1, so the appointment is through, for the unexpired term through June 30th, and then for a 4-year appointment thereafter for July 1 through June 30th, 2022, and the statute sets forth no exceptions.
So that's why we're doing this all over again.
I just have a question if I may, because I didn't realize it was on the agenda, because I printed it out.
Okay.
Kim
Address?
Parker Shore Drive. I'm just wondering if we could have made this contract, I know we're kind of controlled by the state in this instance, a little more ironclad, where if we have issues like we had with Charlie Hack, we can get rid of the tax assessor before the 4-year term is up.
You acquire tenure after the first full 4-year term. So if the tax assessor gets appointed on July 1st, 2023, then they acquire tenure. So they don't have tenure before that, but the statutes still require good cause to remove an assessor. The state has very specific statutory requirements for the position of tax assessor.
Okay, so just the fact that he used funds badly is good enough.
You have to have good cause. So,
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember DiRigo?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill is absent. Resolution 18054 has been properly approved. Ordinance, introduction and first reading. Ordinance 1804, amend section 7-4 to designate entirety of Valley Avenue as a two-way street. Do I have a motion to introduce?
Yes. It's a bad.
Do I have a second?
Up there.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Briand?
Yes.
Councilmember Oswald?
yes.
Councilmember DiRigo?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill is absent. Ordinance 1804 has been properly introduced. The public hearing will be on February 21st, 2018. Ordinances, public hearing and possible adoption. Ordinance 1803, amend Chapter 7-3.6B, disabled parking on streets for private residents. Open the meeting to the public.
Anyone have any comments on this ordinance? Yes, sir.
Chris Francie, 36 Fifth Street. I'm going to repeat a concern I've had for a while. I think these rules should have a sunshine limit built in, say 3 years, all right, and then the permits have to be renewed. At this point, there's more than a handful, as far as I know, of parking spots that were valid back when, but are no longer valid. And, you know, I don't want to take away a handicap spot that is valid, but it does bother me that, you know, if a parent passed away, or they moved out, and the parking spot was based on them, and the house has changed hands, or a sibling has moved in, or something like that, and so I just think it's an easy thing to do, is to add the sunshine limit.
In response,
Sunset clause.
the ordinance sets forth that if it's no longer necessary for the resident shall notify the borough clerk, and then the borough shall remove the sign. That's built into the
That's strong
ordinance.
enough.
And the chief of police has obviously specific requirements with regard to that too. So
That's not a sunset.
I didn't say it was a sunset. I'm telling you that it's not something that would stay in perpetuity if the resident knew that someone passed away and they no longer needed the spot. It's on them to notify the chief of
It's
police.
not in their benefit to notify you. That's the point. There's no
Well then, but
penalty
then,
for-
yes, there is. They can be subject to the general penalty provisions of section 3.9 of the general ordinances if they're improperly parking there. So if the chief of police finds that, it's in there.
We should strengthen the
And-
permit.
And the chief of police can speak about it too, because he spoke to the county about this ordinance, so.
Chris, I do agree with you 100%. There are spaces out there that we are looking at as we speak. We're looking at one today. We don't get notified all the time. This ordinance does speak to that. But with reference to that with the sunset, although I agree, the Motor Vehicle Commission does that automatically. They submit a request to us. They have to submit that documentation from their doctor, not only to us, but also to the Motor Vehicle Commission, who issues that placard that they get. So I'm not going to say that it would be discriminatory to sunset against that. It may be, that's a legal question, but that's just something that we've looked into. This ordinance was given to me by the county. I'm working on one now. They said that this is something that we should have because ours is very big, and that's why I presented it to the council, and this is where we're at.
May I start? The placards from the state, are they renewable like a license? I mean, do they have to get?
2 or 3 years.
Yes.
So do you,
They
you
just-
should collect the dates on the placards when somebody applies.
Yes.
And then after that time period is up, then you should,
Right, they have to provide that in their application to us. That, and now Motor Vehicle Commission has changed their rules with how they issue theirs as well. They used to issue them just a regular placard number, now it gets renewed. So now it gets renewed and it gets a new number. So therefore you can't put you used to put the placard number on the sign, you can't do that anymore because it changes.
So when the renewal comes up from the state for the placard, do they then have to renew the permit with the town?
No.
That's
well, maybe.
Yeah, unless you have some way of getting back, unless you have some way, as Carol suggests, you know about the renewal, and then you go visit.
More often than not, that's exactly what happens. Somebody notifies us, or my office receives it, somebody gets a summons for parking in that spot, and then we find out, hey, they're not supposed to be, the sign gets yanked down.
It could be lost in the process. You
We've
know.
had a lot recently with a lot of houses getting lifted.
Yes.
And now they have a driveway.
Yeah,
They don't get a handicap sign anymore.
right.
So I go knock on the door and say, hey, listen, I'm sorry, but your sign's getting pulled.
Okay. Becky, sorry.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I'll close the public portion.
Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1803?
I do so much.
Second?
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Broswell? Councilmember Rion?
Yes.
Councilmember Diarigo?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill is absent. Ordinance 1803 has been properly adopted. Other business, offshore drilling resolution.
How are we supposed to proceed with this as a resolution under other business?
There was going to be a discussion because this entity from the federal government submitted a draft resolution wherein they're asking shore towns to oppose offshore oil and gas activities.
Someone from the federal government?
This is from a group, an organization.
Oh, okay.
Whereas they're asking for the support of municipalities to oppose offshore oil and gas exploration and drilling activities that would affect the coast of New Jersey, and call upon the Secretary of the Interior, who oversees the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, to withdraw New Jersey from the entire Atlantic Ocean. I think that the deadline that they wanted was on or about March 9th, so this is on for other business to see if the council supports opposition to that, and the template resolution that they sent to you is in your packets.
So this is just a template if we were to...
If you decide that you want to go forward, it will be on the agenda for the next meeting.
Well, what if we want to do it with in a different form, with changes?
You can.
We can do
This
it.
is their template,
Well,
you know.
this is what I would recommend. Looking at this, there's a lot of truths in this.
Mhm.
There's also some, from the lack of other evidences that should be included, are misperceptions. I think that if I were to take a stab at it, I would add some other whereases to bring to light the full nature of this. Not that it would be pro-drilling or anti-drilling. I think all sides of it. You know, if Highlands is going to dive into this subject, I think it ought to be rounded, and you ought to understand both sides of it. And it's a personal interest of mine. I find it a fascinating subject, but there's a lot more to it than what they have here. And I don't think, just looking at it, I don't think there's anything incorrect about what they're saying, but there's, because of what they're not saying, it kind of leads you to think that it's like, if they do this, we're all going to die. And I'm not saying there's no risk, but I think there's a balance of, you should know what the risks are, which this kind of says, and there's nothing about the benefits.
So if it's a letter in opposition, normally you
Right,
would list
right,
that.
right. And
That's because it came from a group who wants everyone to oppose it. And if you want to oppose it, I think that's fine, but I think you ought to oppose it after you know both sides.
So
And you can
wanna
still
work on
oppose it.
doing both sides of the equation and then sending it out to all of us?
I wouldn't mind taking a stab at it.
Okay. Do you think we could have that for everybody to review before the next meeting?
And so that's 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I think the deadline is March 9th.
No, I'm
March-
saying that way.
March 9th, I think.
We get it then.
So, I probably can. I mean, it's not my thing to, write. I have a lot of information. I don't know how well I can put it in this form, but I'll take a stab at it and see what.
I'm not asking you to write the resolution, just to write your argument, and then it's up to...
I could make a presentation, but I don't know if that's what we want to do
Yeah,
in these
and,
chambers.
and if you do plus or minus, they may or may not accept it, but, just decide how you want to do
Well,
it, so.
if I were the federal government and I got this, I would say that they don't understand the risk of not having enough energy production. It's a national concern. Who here doesn't use energy? Well, we all have to have some energy. Where's it going to come from? We use a whole lot more energy than we can produce at home. We're just now getting to the point where we can start exporting some, but I know when we reject these ideas about not drilling because we're going to kill everything, we're also rejecting the idea of being energy independent. That's a serious national concern. It's not particularly a Highlands concern. We're in the mix, but
Or we could decide not to back it, or not to do it.
well, I guess I'm just speaking for my own point of view. Like, you guys can still decide to not act, or let me take a stab at it, or whatever. I'm just I find the whole thing very
I say
fascinating.
stab at it, come back.
Stab at it?
Exactly. Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
And it's like I said, you don't have to write an ordinance. You could just do
Can
your
I just
research.
make a
No, write your resolution, just do your research. Write down pros, write down cons.
Make a
And let us
presentation.
know.
Okay.
Wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah, just write it up.
Yeah.
We're all ready to
Write it
debate
up
it.
in CC.
Okay.
Bring it on.
No, it's a real fascinating. You'd be surprised of what they don't say. Not these people, but the world in general. What they keep to themselves about stuff. Anyway, okay. So I said it.
Okay, council meeting schedule. Would you like to handle that? Mine, things for you?
So, I believe that we need some more time, like, we could address that resolution we just spoke about. If we had workshop meetings prior to our second session this month, if we could have workshops, 7 o'clock, that 8 o'clock. That way maybe we can work through some things and not actually use a public meeting. And maybe not send only on emails and stuff. We can talk about things.
Were you thinking the first meeting, second meeting?
That's it. I maybe the first meeting.
Right. So we have a month to get in line and make sure that that works for everybody. Anybody have any opposition to that, to having a workshop meeting ahead of?
I would love it. I think it would help.
Okay, then.
As a fact, I just brought up that workshop is public. It is,
Yes,
it is.
workshop is a public portion of the meeting, so we would have 6 to 7 would be the workshop, 7 o'clock in the room till 8, and then back out here for the public meeting. And a workshop is just really more of a formal process where we get extra time to talk about things that are not spoken about council, but just more general, everyday things that we get to speak with
For
each other.
yourselves or back and forth with the public anyway?
It's for us, but you guys
To
can
hear it.
Hear it, exactly.
Not necessarily participate.
Correct.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
Correct.
Because
You have a lot of work to
your
get
time to
done.
participate is in the
Yeah.
8 o'clock onwards.
Absolutely. Good.
This way, if you want to watch the show for an extra hour, dial in early.
Actually, they are taking a step back, because the first meeting of the month used to be the workshop. And the second meeting was the official meeting.
Well, we need more. We need more time.
Yes, you do.
We need more time to discuss, and just to discuss freely without breaking any laws. So, once we get this worked out, probably by the end of the week, if it's the first or the second meeting, then we will republish our public meeting schedule so that we're in compliance. Chief, do you have a report for us?
I don't. My report was submitted to the administrator. You may have got a copy of it. Other than what's on there, I don't have anything specific.
Is there anything in particular on here that you'd like us to?
Not necessarily that jumps out.
Okay. Okay. Clear? Does anyone else at the table have anything else to add?
Public comments?
Public portion.
The administrative report?
No, I think we covered everything under what we spoke about today.
Yes.
It's going to be holding your head with I have two things I want to comment on. One is a question, and I don't think that we necessarily have to do it, but I wondered why Highlands is not a member of the Monmouth County Health Department. Is it a cost factor? And the reason I ask this is because Monmouth County Health Department just offered the member towns free flu shots. And
So the Monmouth County Regional Health Commission, which we are a part of, actually also had a clinic yesterday that was on our Facebook page and advertised to our residents for 3 hours yesterday.
well, I didn't see it on the county site. I didn't see
It was on our,
Right.
it was on our website.
Okay.
But just so you know, Carol, we actually have tried to get into the program, and we did a resolution actually to go into the program, pull out regional, because regional does cost more money.
I thought maybe it was a cost factor or something. I mean, there was
No, it
something-
would actually be it would be a better savings for the borough, if we were in the county and not the regional. But they did not accept us. They said that they were too busy, they were understaffed, and they couldn't have us in at the time. But it's something that I continue to pursue.
They used to come and do flu shots at the senior center.
We can look into doing that.
I don't need to.
No, but why not?
I just noticed
We could
that we were
actually-
missing. There were other towns missing too, and I thought it was rather weird. You know,
Yeah.
Highlands is in, but Seabright is not, Middletown is not, Keyport, Hazlet, all those towns are in. I just wondered about this, so that was
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
Okay, I read an article in the Two River Times, and I want to address the article. And I'm sorry, it's going to take a while, because the article turns out to be 3 pages here, and I want to address every section. You introduced, Rosemary, you want the Army Corps of Engineers to come back and finish its feasibility study. Are you aware?
First, let me clarify this. I didn't say I wanted them. They contacted myself saying, Ken, to come back and suggest it. I brought it up to the council and
I don't
said,
understand why they would do that if the resolution has already been passed by this town council to reject them. And we were forced to do that. The council was forced to do it because they would not finish the feasibility study unless the council accepted it carte blanche. You didn't have a choice, you didn't know all the issues, and the council was forced to accept it by the Army Corps of Engineers. Now they want to come back and finish their study, they should have finished it then. The resolution has been passed, we rejected it, it should not come up again. And also, when I get to the end, the flood wall. I would like proof of the statement from Jason Shea that Highlands is the only town post-Sandy that has rejected it. Did he provide any proof of that?
we haven't gotten a letter yet.
Okay.
Are they cited and checked?
Well, this is the article that's in the paper. He says, if you want to reduce large-scale flooding, this is what you need. The risk of the town being basically wiped out again. It's not going to be wiped out again because all the buildings are 17 feet high.
And Carol, it also wasn't wiped out the first time. That article led with 1,200 homes were demolished in Highlands.
Right.
As one of the towns, one of the houses damaged, I can tell you that no homes were demolished
Right.
in Highlands. No great wave came and swept away blocks.
Well, you
like
gotta
it
watch
happened
out
to
for this
Union
two
Beach.
times because they're very dishonest.
They are. You should read my quote because I didn't say those words, and not in that sentence.
Maybe you should go to their meeting and yell at them.
I can tell you,
I don't
they
think you're
they
allowed
called,
over again.
and all I kept, they called, and all I kept saying is, you can listen to the video, you can listen to the video. So,
Well, in 190 years, if they classify Sandy as a 190-year storm, in 190 years, there might not be any lower highlands. So the no people are not going to want a wall around this town that they're not going to belong to. So I think that's a bunch of nonsense. Why would you need a gate? Bay Avenue on that end is higher than the rest of the town, I believe. So why do you need a gate there? To keep the water in? You're not going to let it out. It's ridiculous. I mean, I just can't believe it. Now, why won't they agree if they want to help Highlands, if they truly, truly want to help Highlands, why don't they provide us with the sand that they put in Compton Park? They put tons and tons of sand in Compton Park. They put tons and tons of sand in Kingsbury. They put tons and tons of sand in Union Beach. Why won't they give us sand? And they specifically said they are not doing sand here. They said that at those meetings. I went to every one of the meetings. I know everything they said. Unfortunately, lucky for them, I threw all the research I did out about 3 weeks ago. And I'm really upset about that. But nevertheless, I do have...
You blaming us for that, too?
That's a good point. So if they would help us, if they really wanted to help Highlands, they would help us with our drains and our basins and the sand. We lost our entire beach. We built a new bulkhead. The Army Corps of Engineers says, you can cut yours down as soon as we put ours up. Not a chance that that's going to happen. We put a vinyl bulkhead up that is going to last longer than anybody in this town, probably. So, you know, that's just ridiculous, too. And this other whole paragraph, the cost time is $5.2 million. We can pay that over a 6-year span. Who wants to subject this town to 6 years of payments for something that we don't need?
You don't.
We don't need it. And besides that doesn't even include the maintenance of the wall, because as I told you last time, that the maintenance, they said specifically, the maintenance of the wall was our responsibility, and it would cost us $251,000+ a year to maintain it. And that may be true, because look at Marine Place. That has not been maintained at all. Are you familiar with Marine Place? It's over there.
Carol, nothing's changed from last year.
What?
Nothing has changed.
Well, I know
From
that
last
last year,
year.
but I think that they want to come back just so they have a job, so they get
They
paid.
They go.
I don't think we
Carol,
can help them do that.
Can you please let me just speak to your questions here?
Okay, but I
They-
ain't finished.
I know, I know. They were told the only way they are able to complete their feasibility study so they can put it in a nice fancy little file folder and put it on a shelf somewhere and never to be read again. Only if they send us a letter saying that the borough is not obligated in any way to do their project. Yes, you can do the feasibility study, but the borough's not on the hook for a dime, and they're not obligated to do their job. How they made us tied to it last time.
Right.
We won't do anything until, or give them permission to finish until they give us that letter.
That's how we left it with it. We did not say that or I did not give them the idea that we're interested. I even gave them something extra to think about why I would object to the wall. And they were the ones who were interested in doing the feasibility study. And I said, well, just like what Carolyn said,
They're the
I don't
ones
want.
that refuse it, Ken. They're the ones
Well, so
that refuse
they're
it.
changing. I agree, but you know what? We also haven't heard from them again since then.
Right, exactly.
So, as far as we know, it's dead in the water.
Right, and I'm sure they have all those records. You know, they had all the videos, all the things, you know.
Everything except a scale model.
Yeah, and I saw that you wanted a scale model. What is that gonna tell you?
Well, no, it's going to show me a lot more than red lines versus purple
You can
lines
use it
versus
for
green
tchotchke
smoothie
in your
lines.
house or something. Yes, I don't know.
No, so the reason they don't want to do a scale model is they don't want the people to see actually what it looks like, because it'll scare everybody.
Yeah, but it also still says here that the state would operate and maintain them. It says in this.
No, that's not right. They gave us an example from another town, from another project, not even a post-Sandy project. It was something that they did.
Boundbrook is their prize.
Right.
Boundbrook is their prize. They take it around.
Yes.
They wave it in front of you.
Yes, Boundbrook.
See how lovely
It's
this
Boundbrook.
looks.
And it's not the state that maintains Boundbrook, the county maintains Boundbrook.
Just like how the county maintains Marine
Yeah.
Place.
But they said the county actually maintains Boundbrook, but it's Middlesex County.
Well, because that's their jewel. That's the Army Corps' jewel. Boundbrook.
But
It turned
they
out-
said maybe we can work it out like that. And I said, well, maybe's not good enough. I want to know.
But Boundbrook still floods.
And Jason Shea himself, when I made the statement at the meeting at Henry Hudson, when I made the statement that if everybody raises their house, we won't need a wall, and he agreed. And they all agreed. And now they want to come back and do a feasibility study, because they want to keep their job, they want to have something to put on a shelf that they can say, we did this. It's, you know, and if it's gonna have any effect of tying up any business of the borough, I don't know if it will.
It won't.
I mean, if they insist on having more hearings and more of that crap,
They didn't say anything about that.
it's ridiculous, but I just don't see how, when you have voted for something after you have carefully studied it and decided, and the majority of the town decided that they didn't want it, why you would allow them to come back. It's almost like going to a business owner and saying, you
Right.
have to
You
write
know,
a
you
letter
know
and
why?
say how good it is.
Listen to just one reason. Say they do this feasibility study, and it doesn't cost us a dime. And they present the study to us, and we say, thank you very much.
Well,
And
as
then we've
long
got
as
a
it
free
doesn't-
study.
as long as it doesn't require the populace to go up to Henry Hudson and listen to all their,
No.
since we're not.
If they did it, all they're going to do is just hand it to us. It's not going to be.
My concern with this whole thing is that the presentation in the newspaper article tried to make us all look bad in this town, because we're the only town that voted it down.
Well, we don't even know if that's true.
I know that, but the presentation is that we're preventing this wonderful project from completing, and that's my concern.
I answered that right. We need
Okay.
sand
We
and
need
we
to-
need the
right.
drainage
We need
fixed.
to-
That's what we're doing. And if they want to do that, fine. But I think that, you know.
You're not having a good time?
No, it's just that other people want to talk, and so, you know, I like to see it goes out the window at this point.
Yes.
I'll try to keep it concise. Bill Eiler, 165A, 30 Jackson Street. I have a nickname for it. It's the ghost train, and it's what Highlands is right. So I'm going to refer to it as that.
Okay.
It's a 5 or 6 million, maybe 7 million by the time we're done rateable. It is on track to do something somewhere. We don't really know what its purchase price is. We don't really know why it's going where it's going, and I'm referring to the town hall. So I brought this up about a month and a half ago, and I've done a little more work since then. And similar to Carol, you know, we're spending money we maybe don't need to. I want to always make sure we're vigilant about that. It turns out, based on some research I've been able to hunt down, and again, it's all sort of in different places, and it's not really spearheaded by anybody, which is why I'm calling it the ghost train. It's on rails. It's happening.
Okay.
Ryan will probably tell me in a few minutes, well, I can't tell you that it's under contract, we're negotiating it for different. I know that. The issue is, Everybody has told me repeatedly, I don't know where I heard it from, but I know FEMA will only pay us the most money if we get it up on the hill. That isn't true. FEMA will pay us.
I was gonna say,
Okay, finish.
stop you right there,
Oh.
because you're not a FEMA expert. However, we're so lucky because we have a FEMA expert
Well,
sitting right over
Okay,
here.
and again, I just want to have three
Because
minutes
how many millions of dollars have you gotten back from FEMA?
to not be interrupted. It's
Yeah.
about my research, working with Kim, who's fantastic. So the critical issue here is that FEMA will pay us X if we're located out of the flood zone, and it'll pay us substantially less than X if we put it in a flood zone.
Correct.
To be in a flood zone means that the building is sitting on an elevation that is low. So if you raise something a foot, it's no longer a flood zone.
No, it's still in the flood zone.
That,
That's not correct. You're wrong. You're wrong.
is an X zone a flood zone?
I'm sorry?
Is a zone X a flood zone?
Zone X, what's a zone X?
Zone X is what the entire western portion, and including Shore Drive, is from underneath Bay Avenue, all the way to the police station, all the way past Brandon's work area, almost up to the fire.
It's an AE11, and the maps that are going to be
The
adopted.
the maps that are coming out,
AE11.
In the FEMA that I looked at online with Dale,
that's not
3 weeks
updated.
ago,
That's
FEMA
not,
flood map is no longer saying that's an
it's
X.
not correct. It's not correct.
AE11.
Just a whole
Which
discussion.
is a lot better than a V12. But it's still an AE11.
West of Shore Drive.
Yes, they
That
moved
changes
the
it.
line from, the line used to be right in the middle of Shore Drive, right where Pat Robinson's house is.
I'm sorry, the line.
The flood line,
It's right at the end of Miller.
right at Miller Street and Shore Drive, right next to that
Diagonally
line.
across from the firehouse.
Now that line is in the middle of the hill.
Okay, then that changes my opinion, because originally when Chris and I were looking at the FEMA maps, we looked at the same map.
They're not accepting the concept that the X zone is within the 500-year floodplain, and what FEMA wants you is out of the 500-year.
Right.
That is the issue.
And the X zone is in the 100 year.
Correct. No, well,
100.
I thought X zone was.
X is out of the 100, but it's within the
Within
500.
500.
Within the 500, and the X is what...
But the X is gone. in
Is, I
a couple
understand,
months.
that's a separate issue.
There's no X zone anymore?
It's the 500-year elevation that they want you above.
And we have to be very careful, because now they're asking certain states to go to 1,000-year floodplain. West Virginia, I've been asked to speak to West Virginia about the fact that they are asking the state of West Virginia to go to 1,000-year floodplain.
Okay. But that doesn't apply to, at this point,
No,
that's why
but
the hill
be
is the
careful
only
what
five
you
zone.
So where my discussion was going isn't valid at the point, because I can't do West and Shore Drive.
Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, no, I
Well, and that's the reason that, we looked at that property that they made the townhouses on, that's directly across from the firehouse, that they made the 5 townhouses on.
And I came myself with you when we talked about X season.
And that's why that couldn't.
I was directed to the current flood maps, Dale and I sat in the office
Right.
on the FEMA map, so Dale maybe should have told me they built this only good for 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
So the ghost train has to rest.
No, the ghost train is still
That's
running.
property.
But nobody seems to know where the project is going, and there's still two components here that are important. One, the idea was, let's get some of it back downtown if we can. If we can't because of flood zone and elevation, I fully understand that. I'm not fighting that. I am fighting the concept that it has to be an aggregated 4-part municipal complex on a small piece of property on a highway. I'd like to ask you if you would also consider doing something, perhaps the first aid in the OEM, halfway up the hill, right in that vacant lot that's in the, sort of cut into the hill by also
You mean Frank Hall
Frank
Park?
Hall Park.
Frank Hall Park.
Yeah,
The
old
parking lot?
mayor.
Wait, I'm sorry, I thought it was where the Carroll
Frank
Tavern.
Hall Park.
Oh, you're talking up
Carol's
Carol's
Navigator.
Navigator, okay. So
Carol's
you're talking
Oh,
about
I thought you were talking
Park.
about another hill, I think that is.
No, I was literally, please listen, I
Yeah.
said right where the Hoffman Hook is, and I was going to say Carol's Navigator, but I had been interrupted. But where Carol's Navigator is, seems to be another ideal spot for at least the first aid component with OEM on top. And it alleviates the burden on the Miller Street mega complex. And lastly, I'm asking that we still try to outsource our municipal court to save money. I know we could be trapped at Highlands or Atlantic Highlands doesn't want us in 5 years, but there are other municipal courts, and we only use it 2 days out of every month, max. Could we possibly think of taking that out of the mega complex proposal, so we unbundle it a little bit, and make it not a $5 or $6 million project for the town? Sure.
No, the schematics haven't been complete yet, so if we can't say that it definitely we will have to start, and we don't know. We need to analyze everything with the prices and
Back to the ghost train, and months then, for at least one more meeting.
You can hold on.
But who's in charge of the process? Anybody? Is it all the council? Is it administrator? Is there a project engineer?
The process of what? Answering FEMA, getting the information from FEMA and JOEM.
Yeah, deciding that we're going to bundle everything on one site, or could we, who's saying we can unbundle it? Where is that question being analyzed?
Right, we're in different portions of this whole FEMA project,
Who's
right?
the we?
The borough as a whole.
And who
So,
is that?
Here, let me just, that way, before you ask me, I might answer your question. So, what's happening is, you don't have your full numbers yet, right? We don't know exactly what the answer is, because they have not given us an answer, NJOEM and FEMA. NJOEM represents us
Answer on what?
on anything with that building. We do not have final numbers, we don't have what they suggest with the combined damages of who should pay together, who shouldn't, what will they include?
So the bundling or unbundling is still...
It might change, that's why we cannot give a complete answer right now.
But is there anybody who, on the council side, or the we at the borough, saying, hey, you know what, let's think about unbundling this and funding two spots, Careless Navigator and Church, and outsourcing and
Possibility of
But
that.
it's
I mean, I
all-
think we sit down and talk
And
about
they don't
it.
have the economics, so they can't begin to think about it.
And my question is, Chris, much like your sunset provision, although I know there are provisions that help enforce it, is there some decision point where we're going to sit down and say, now we have all the economics, do we still want to put 4 in one box, or 2 here, 1 here, and 1 on the
Well,
outside?
It will,
Is there an intersection?
I think it's brought to our attention that we'll address it.
So there will be an intersection to ask
For the
that
council
question.
to speak about it, yes.
Is it a decision, or will it be a statement, or will it be an input from the public, or here are our choices? How is that going to be managed? A little bit like shorthand, is it going to be just put there and talk about it, or is it going
Well,
to be, hey,
yeah, I think it's going to be an effort. We do have input from you. They need to decide for the borough. We need to look at the economic portion of it. The convenience of everything. I understand what you're saying. I respect what you're saying.
no doubt about that.
Absolutely. But I think that overall, we're going to have to make the best decision for the borough. And money-wise, we'll let you guys know. We'll keep it as informed as we can.
Letting us know, great. Before, during, and after, hopefully.
I don't think it's going to be a secret. That's the big thing. I think that as soon as we have the finances and we know what we can do with it, I cannot see it being a secret. It's not going to just appear magically one day.
I guess the impression I'm getting, though, Rosemary, and I do respect the idea that
Yeah.
we don't have enough numbers, we can't be very open about that, and the numbers are the repair damages, the replacement cost. And now I know what we can't do, we certainly can't put it on shore drive, which I thought we could, I get that. There are still components that are planning factors, and it sounds like a decision was made to put it there in one group, and nobody has thought, oh, well, that could change, or maybe that won't be the right way to go. Is there a window at which that will be reanalyzed, if it was even analyzed in the first place?
It's been constantly thought about since the day after Sandy. What's going to go there? What's going to go where?
Could it go anywhere else? Could things get broken up?
Exactly. That's all the different properties we looked at in 2014, 15, whatever that was.
I just don't, it's almost like by history rather than a documentary committee or an architect.
Well, it's sort of like it's pretty much any project that you do. You can't plan out the projects until you know what your budget is. So if we can't figure out what our budget's going to be, we put some money aside. It's because we knew we had to do environmental studies and all of these other plans, traffic study on 30. We have to do a whole bunch of things.
And last comment, that
And
doesn't
then we're
square with
still
the
have
idea
to-
that we have a contract on a parcel. That almost makes it look like
Right.
besides
I'm
that.
saying, again, without a budget,
You know what I mean?
you can't make any plan about how big the building's going to be. how
Wait,
much square
wait,
footage.
but hold that thought. But without a budget, you can't make a plan. How is it that you have a contract we can't talk about? That's illogical.
Because
That's almost a
Well, that's
Because
fine.
it's $375,000 is the steel to buy it, and you'll be able to unload it for that money plus down the road if that's the
What
issue.
is secret to unloading?
But then one person's answer.
No, no.
I mean, if you
All right, you know what? When everybody's talking at once, that's when I'm going to end the meeting. Okay?
To make the money to water even more, I don't think we can't take possession of that property, the parking lot, until the church provides parking somewhere else to accommodate their requirements for parking. And that's been at the planning board for months now, and we've gotten complete inactivity from them. And Chris, you can tell me about it. We took,
discussed it at the last meeting.
Yeah.
And they don't have an application in front of us.
Yeah.
They have preliminary plans, which we hear that they're revised, and they haven't come to the board. So at this point, the closing date is a good 6 months down the road.
yeah, they don't even, they can't even give themselves the parking they need in order to sell the property. So,
They indicated they
the
had,
whole thing's up in the air.
their council indicated they had some complicating factors with an easement that they had to address the first 2 weeks of February, but once that was addressed, they'd be coming back before the land use
Okay.
board for a
know-
revised plan with regard to
Okay.
that.
And they haven't gone out for notice, they haven't sent out the date of the...
That's their obligation.
Yeah.
That's the final remaining contingency in the contract for it to close, but that's their obligation. We've satisfied our obligations.
Right.
So.
Keep in mind that some of us are gonna have to pay twice. Those who belong to the church for the parking lot, and,
Well, and again, thank you for the answers. I did want to say that I would like to have uninterrupted time. When it gets interrupted, I wasn't jumping inside, so again, I appreciate the time. I'd like to finish the thought that you guys let me have, which I appreciate.
I hope you appreciate that, giving everybody 10 minutes time.
Well, listen, it's not been that long with my speaking. Really. And I really appreciate the idea that we're still looking at this as a project process and not final.
Oh,
Even though
we're
we're
so
not
far away
property.
from final bills.
Okay.
Like I said, it's been how many years, and FEMA still hasn't given us the numbers for the old borough hall, or what that reimbursement's gonna be.
And there'll be a process where as things develop, the council will at least let us know. Don't say it like that, it's not always that easy.
Okay, I'm sorry. Nancy?
Nancy Burton in the garden. I just wanted to make a comment on the record towards Councilwoman Fiorito's statement. She mentioned that she was urged to pull disgruntled businesses, then why mine? Why would you give me a survey? You mentioned that it was unprofessional for someone to visit. I was the person that visited Tiny Corner Laundry. I think it was unprofessional for you to use them as an example at 2 consecutive council meetings as being an unhappy business. So as a business owner, I went to speak to another
I
business
did not
owner
say that.
to talk to them and encourage them to attend our upcoming Highlands Business Partnership meeting. At that time, they stated that they support the Highlands Business Partnership and our president, Carla, who might I add is a volunteer. And I encouraged them at that time to please send a letter because otherwise it was just hearsay from one person to another. It needed to come from them. During my visit, they in fact stated that they were intimidated by a council person hand-delivering them a poll/survey and then hand-picking up that same anonymous poll/survey/questionnaire. We finally, at the Highlands Business Partnership, I've been a member for 14 years. We finally have an updated roster and proper property assessments for our tax assessments. And that's taken a long time, and that just happened, so I want to thank you. I also want to state that as a member for the past 14 years, we are running better than we have ever run. We are producing more improvements than ever. Our events are larger than ever, bringing more people to the town, visitors, new residents, customers to my business, better than ever. We have, in that time, been drawing more businesses, new businesses, and continuing businesses. I look forward to working closely with our new council liaison in the future and continuing this progress, and I encourage the Recreation Department and its liaison to work on improving upon itself and leave the HPP to the HPP to discuss what sort of things we should have on our goal amongst our membership. So I just wanted to be on the record stating that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I stated that the laundromat had to close every time there was no parking signs put in front of his business, and it would cost him money. He did not state that. I stated it, and I repeatedly stated that this was what I saw, what I thought. That was, I repeatedly said that, over and over. That
He doesn't mind, and I think he's going to write that in his letter.
Okay.
He takes a forced vacation for the Clam Fest, and he's not affected at all by the Twin Lane bike ride, financially.
Okay.
fake news.
Well, two of the times fake news. We're blasting all over it, it's true.
Okay, Steve, why don't you close us out today?
Close it out by just saying, you know what, all this stuff is just words, there's no statistics, no numbers to prove any of that. And if there is, we'd love to see it, you know, because I don't see it. We don't see it in our part of town. And the point that I keep trying to make with all the people with blinders on in that Highlands Business Partnership is that the events need to be more inclusive and need to come to town. They are bar-driven for the most part. If you take a look at all the events in the beginning of the calendar, they all revolve around the bars. All those people are on the committee, the leadership committee, okay? So, you know, I mean, here it is since August I've been talking about it, okay? And it's still the same old rut in the road that we're following. And nobody has even attempted to ask, what can we do different, okay? So until something happens that's different and imaginative and inclusive, to make, and you can prove these things statistically, and I'm not just directing that to you, Nancy, I'm directing it towards my issue with the business partnership in general. It's just not going to make me happy. You know? I mean, I don't know, you know, we tried to make an improvement. I mean, I haven't even seen the surveys. Claudette, do you have the surveys that you handed out?
I didn't, it was a questionnaire, actually.
A questionnaire? I mean, I didn't see them.
And I didn't collect them from everybody. People actually put them in my mailbox. People that did not want me to come back. I specifically asked, would you like me to come back? I gave them my address. They could drop them in the borough hall. And some of the comments were so caustic, it was just a shock to me. When I was spoken to, and I did not know these people. I did not know these owners. So you can argue all you want that everybody's happy, but I'm telling you that there are a lot of unhappy people, and we have to bridge the gap here.
Exactly. Here's the division. You people are
Come to our
supposedly...
meeting.
Okay,
you know what?
Come to our meeting, then I'll come to the
it's
survey.
not against the meetings.
No, you haven't been to the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
I've asked
Oh,
What, second?
So moved.
All in favor?
and you know what?